What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is UnrealEntGaming, and welcome back to another episode of this week's Fan Mail of the Week. Everybody, welcome back to another episode. We are nearly done with November. Call of Duty is out, Battlefield, WWE 2K14, in which case I am accepting challenges on there. Whoever wants to battle me on the PS4 version of 2K15, I will smack at your ass. We have Thanksgiving that's coming up next week, which I am looking forward to as always, because as usual, you know, Thanksgiving, you get together with your family and whatnot, and you eat a lot of food. So for those of you out there who are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving this year, I really hope you guys have a blessed Thanksgiving. And a whole bunch of stuff that has been going on. Christmas is right around the corner. Of course, Black Friday is right after Thanksgiving, and I really pray for the people that are going to be, you know, partaking in that, because people are going to kill each other over the new iPhone 6 and all that kind of shit, and it's just going to be off the wall. So, God, man. Anyways, everybody, I really hope you guys are going to enjoy this week's episode. As usual, it's cold as fudge outside, so it's really cold in my room too, so I might be shivering here and there, but I don't give a damn. Just lend me your energy. Lend me your likes for me to release this bomb so we can get through with our lives. Anyways, everybody, before I begin, I really hope you guys go on ahead and please subscribe and check out my second channel. The link will be in the description below. It's called UnrealEnt Network. Everybody, as usual, I always tell you guys that on that channel you guys will find things that you guys will not find on here. Some really epic Dragon Ball Z battles, some really epic, you know, wrestling videos, Titanfall, and epic Call of Duty stuff. A whole bunch of stuff on there that you will not find on here, along with movie reviews, comic book reviews, and stuff like that. So if you guys want to go on ahead and check that out, that would be much greatly appreciative. And also, if you guys are looking to get some awesome merchandise for this holiday season, the link will be in the description below for some really cool Unreal merchandise. So everybody, let's begin with our very first question of the week, and it is from Jose Morgan. Hello, what's poppin', player? Some Saints Row reference right there for you. What's going on, brother? First time doing questions, so let's go. Question number 1, a friend commits murder and asks you to help. Would you or would you not? Question 2, like the other question, but it's a family member. Would you not help? Question number 3, a virus outbreak or a government crash and everything is going out of control. There is no order, just small groups of loyal cops, army men, and survival groups. It's just you and some friends and family. How would you survive? Holy shit. Question number 4, you get sucked into a movie world of Jeepers Creepers. What would go down? Well, those are all the questions that I have for this week's Fan Mail, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your life. P.S. Any other fans could answer the question as well. That would be awesome. Well, thank you, Jose. Well, to answer your first question, if one of my friends commits murder, I would not want to be a part of that, honestly. I don't see how anybody would. I mean, there's just a boundary in which I would not cross. There are certain lines I wouldn't cross. So if you're a friend of mine and you want to commit murder, I don't want any part of that. I don't want to be, you know, even mentioned in the same breath as that. I don't want nothing to do with that. I will not partake in that. I don't care what the cause is for. But like, honestly, I don't feel like it's right to take another person's life, no matter how much, you know, harm they've committed. I mean, like, for example, if there was like a, I don't know, a serial killer, you lock that fucker away from life, and you know, just you isolate him forever. You put him away for life. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. I mean, I don't believe in taking other people's lives, because, I mean, granted, I mean, I know a lot of people commit, you know, very horrible acts in life. Some people deserve to have their life taken away, but I certainly wouldn't commit any fucking acts of heinous crimes like that. So to answer your first question, I would have to say no. And to answer your second question, I would have to say no as well. I mean, I don't care if you're a friend or a family member. I will not partake in any of that. So to answer your third question, a virus outbreak or a government crash happened, how would I survive? Well, number 1, I will say this. If a government crash happened and the economy went down, the financial institutions just, you know, suddenly shut down, we would be fighting for our lives. How would I survive? Number 1, I would stack up on lots and lots of food and weapons. That is something you need, because number 1, you need food to survive, and number 2, you need weapons to protect yourselves against those who want to kill you. For me, honestly, I feel as if in the future there might be a government crash, because just look at what's going on in today's society. I mean, there's just so much, abrupt things happening. You have, people just, just corrupting each other with money, and government institutions lying to the people, and other governments as well. It's bad. If a virus outbreak happened, shit, I would stay at home. I wouldn't go anywhere. I would literally quarantine myself from the masses. I would not leave my house. I would make sure that I have food, power supplies. I would make sure that I have medicine, because that's something you definitely need during times like that. With the Ebola virus running around, with all of these new viruses, running around the world, it's very scary. It's very scary because you'll never really know when something's going to happen, and it's very, very scary because if you look at the bigger picture here, these viruses, these government crashes, they're not fun. Once these things go down, it's the end of society. It's the end of everything that we've loved. It's the end of everything that we've cherished. And how could anyone as a society even function after that? You know what I mean? God forbid that we ever had, a giant, massive outbreak that, leads into, a pandemic and people are dying off left and right. God forbid that does happen, but I mean, is it impossible? Absolutely not. How would I survive? I would literally be home. I would not go anywhere. I would not do anything. I would stack up on food. I would stack up on lots and lots of weapons. I would stack up on medicine, utensils such as, friggin' flashlights and lighters and torches and stuff like that. Whatever you need to, just protect yourself from things to come, I would definitely do that. So, and to answer your fourth question, if I was stuck in the world of Jeepers Creepers, well, I would be terrified, don't get me wrong, because you have like this evil monster, this creeper running around trying to eat everybody and everything. I would be very scared for my life. I would not know what to do. Fighting this thing would be an option, and I probably would do it, but I would not sit around and let myself get eaten by this thing. Of course, till this day, I'm actually waiting to see when they're going to release Jeepers Creepers 3. Of course, nobody ever filled me in on that, and I don't even know when it's going to drop. I mean, hopefully this thing drops very soon, because I've been wanting to see Jeepers Creepers 3 for a long time. Just thinking about it, it's actually pretty scary, because you have this monster who wants to eat every 23 springs or whatnot, and you don't know what he is, you don't know what kind of creature he is, but he is an entity that does need to feed, and feed a lot, may I add. So if I was stuck in that world, I would try my best to hide. Although that thing can actually smell fear, it can smell what it likes about you, and then it can just go on ahead and hunt your ass down and kill you, and then eat you possibly. But if I was stuck in the world of Jeepers Creepers, I would either go down by fighting the creeper, or I would go down by hiding in a very isolated area that hopefully he wouldn't find me. But anyways, Mr. Morgan, thank you for the questions, my friend, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And now moving on to the next question, which is from Ryan. My room is so freaking cold. Holy God, I'm shivering while I'm doing this. Ah! Yo, Alex, what does it take for me to get on Fan Mail of the Week? This is my 6th time. Well, Mr. Ryan, I do want to apologize, but you also have to remember that there are hundreds and thousands of other people that are trying to do this as well. So you're not the only one. I get a lot of messages and comments, so I try to get it to everybody as best as I can. So once again, Ryan, even though this is your 6th time, ta-da, you've made it, my friend. But how's it going anyway? Well, I'm pretty cold, so shit. I know I should have fucking bought myself a heater, but then again, I'm so freaking poor. I can't fucking afford to buy a heater. I'm freaking shivering. I should put some socks on. What have you been up to? Well, working and fucking more work and wrestling and stuff like that. How are you been? I'm great. Be better than if I can. Haha, JK, here we go. All right, here we go. Now on to the questions. Question number 1, which do you prefer, Marvel or DC? I know DC might have been here first, but I think Marvel is more realistic and it pushes the boundaries for a true hero. But who do you think would win in a DC versus Marvel war? P.S. Hulk has withstood a black hole while Superman withstood a supernova, which is the exact opposite of a black hole. That is, well, I don't recall Hulk ever withstanding a black hole, but Superman, I do recall withstanding, you know, supernova explosions. So, ah, man, this is going to be such a hard one. Question number 2, if you had to choose to be a vampire or a werewolf, which would you be? And you can control both of them. Question number 3, Goku or Gohan, who's more powerful by the end of Dragon Ball Z? Question number 4, why do people not like Obama? He cut the deflict spending by more than a half in the U.S. He brought home the troops. Not to mention that he helped create a lot of jobs. Shouldn't people be mad at Congress? Question number 5, have you ever wanted to do UFC? Question number 6, what are your thoughts on the Ebola virus? Thanks once again. And Lord, please put me on this fan mail piece. Well, Ryan, thank you for the questions. To answer your first question, Marvel versus DC in a war. I'm sorry, DC fans, but I am a huge Marvel fan. I always was a Marvel fan. From DC, obviously, my favorites were Superman, Batman, Flash, and Martian Manhunter. Obviously the typical ones, because I don't know too much on DC, but I know a lot on Marvel. In an all-out war, honestly, this would really be crazy, because on one side you would have the Vision and Thanos and Thor and Hulk and, you know, Captain America and Iron Man and, you know, Red Hulk and all that kind of stuff, and War Machine. And then on DC you have Prime Superman, perhaps you have Aquaman, who's very powerful, you have, you know, Doomsday, you have, you know, Darkseid, you have Batman, you have Wonder Woman, who's a warrior in and of itself, who can just destroy. You know, you have Martian Manhunter, you have a whole bunch of characters, and it's pretty hard. In an all-out war, though, I really can't say. It's very hard to say. Honestly, I would have to say probably, and I really do mean probably, I would lean a little towards Marvel, just because I feel like DC's juggernaut would be Doomsday and Superman, and Darkseid, of course, the top 3, whereas opposed to Marvel, you're going to have Thanos, Thor, and Hulk. Now, we're not counting Galactus, of course. Galactus is overkill. He would slaughter everybody. I think everybody knows that. In terms of Iron Man versus Batman, that would come down to straight brains. Who can outsmart the other in terms of, you know, how to get to one another's core. In terms of a fight, yes, Batman would be able to beat Iron Man in a fight. But in a fight, we're talking about, like, who would be able to outsmart who. It would be very, very interesting to see nonetheless. Hulk versus Superman, that would be a fucking slaughter right there. I think I speak for everybody when I say that fight right there would be amazing. Thanos versus Darkseid, the two fucking gods right there. I mean, that would just be amazing in and of itself. Not to mention the fact that we would have the Guardians of the Galaxy on Marvel side, you know, Rocket Raccoon and Groot and, you know, fucking all these other guys. I don't know. I would have to say more towards Marvel. And yes, I am a DC fan. I really am. I just lost touch with DC. Not to mention the fact that they have Green Lantern. Green Lantern would pose a very credible threat as well. I don't know. I mean, this would all boil down to, like, a very handful of characters, like, at the end of the day. Marvel would have Spider-Man and all these other characters, and DC would have, you know, Black Adam and all these guys. It's very, very hard to determine a winner. But I would have to say more towards Marvel because of the status of the characters. I love DC. I cannot wait for the Superman versus Batman movie, Dawn of Justice. When I heard that they're going to actually add in a lot of characters in that film, which I'm actually eagerly anticipating. So, with that being set in stone, I think that as of right now, we all would want to see a Marvel versus DC movie. But at the end of the day, when we're talking comics, I would have to say Marvel for me. Sorry. To answer your second question, I would choose to be a werewolf, and this is why. Number one, I would be able to grow. Once I become a werewolf, I'm gonna stand around, like, what, 8 feet tall. I'm gonna be a giant fucking werewolf. I'm gonna have superpowers, like super strength, super speed. I'll be able to jump around and do a whole bunch of stuff. Vampires, they have to resort to just feeding off of blood. And, you know, their source is at night, like they can't really travel throughout the day, whereas opposed to a werewolf, I guess you could say he's the same way as well. But a vampire versus a werewolf, to choose from a vampire or a werewolf, I would have to choose a werewolf because they're much more aggressive creatures. they're carnivores. I mean, literally, like like if you had to encounter a vampire or a werewolf will tear you apart, whereas opposed to a vampire would just, you know, pretty much consume you, and that'll be it. You know, a werewolf would tear you to pieces. So between choosing from a vampire and a werewolf, I would have to say a werewolf. Just because I know my limits would not be limited. And what are the chances of a fucking vampire having silver bullets and all that kind of bullshit? We're not talking underworld here. So I would have to say werewolf for me. Goku versus Gohan. Who was more powerful at the end of Dragon Ball Z? I would have to say Gohan was still a lot more powerful than Goku at the end of the Kid Buu saga, but in terms of being battle tested, in terms of being smart and strategic and having a lot of durability, that would have to go towards Goku. Goku was not playing around when he fought Kid Buu, so I think that really did earn him a spot on being the top guy, and, you know, possibly going toe-to-toe with Gohan and possibly defeating him. In terms of raw power, yeah, Gohan, but we're not talking after Battle of Gods, of course, you know, but I would have to say Goku, because Goku learned how to master everything, and, you know, that's how his pinnacle was reached, you know, so I would have to say Goku was a lot more battle-tested than Gohan, but Gohan was a lot more powerful. After Battle of Gods, of course, it was Goku, but to answer your fourth question, okay, the reason why a lot of people hate Obama is because, yes, I mean, he did cut the deficit, he did bring the troops home, and he created some jobs. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Do you want to know the things that he did wrong? He signed the National Defense Authorization Act, with pretty much the NDAA allows people, like cops and military people, to lock you up without reading you your Miranda rights, to give, you know, the military the right to exercise, you know, police rights and lock you up and detain you and do all sorts of stuff without any proof. So that's like saying an army personnel can walk by and just lock you up without any evidence behind that and throw you in fucking jail, and it's horrible. I mean, Obama has been one of our weakest presidents. You know, like no other country respects him. I think he's too soft. All he cares about is golf and basketball. Like, dude, you're the freaking leader of a nation. You know, stop being an Illuminati puppet. Stop being a sellout and actually do the things that needs to be done to fix this damn country. I mean, we all need to wake up and realize what's really going on. Obama has strings on him. Obama has owners. Obama has, you know, people that are higher than him. And of course he has to do his job. At the end of the day, it is a job. I mean, it's not up to the president entirely. And yeah, we should be mad at Congress as well. The entire government system is messed up. But you know what? Obama did do some good stuff. And I use that very, very loosely. But he's done more harm than good. Literally abolishing, you know, the amendments, abolishing the Constitution. What kind of president does that? Even Bush didn't do that, and Bush fucked a lot of things up. Bush never went against the Constitution like that. So Obama, I mean, he's leaving a mess. I hate when people say, oh, well, when one president fucks it up, you can't expect the other one to fix it. So why the hell are we voting for presidents in the first place then? I mean, if one person can't fix it and you have about 8 years to fucking fix it, how long do you really need to fix something? It doesn't require 8 years. It doesn't require 40 years. Fix the damn problem. You know, like, it's just, I can go on forever about this. I mean, literally, it just goes into a lot of politics, so I don't know. I mean, Obama, he is what he is, and his time is pretty much over, I believe, in a couple of years. So he's pretty much, his time is almost over. So to answer your fifth question, have I ever wanted to do UFC? Yeah, I did at a certain point. I actually was like, hey, how cool would it be for me to go into the UFC and whatnot? But then I remember that a lot of these UFC fighters talk about how they pay horribly, how, you know, it's very grueling and it's very hard to, you know, keep up with demands and stuff like that. And the UFC is like the WWE, like they bought everything out. They have no competition with the, you know, MMA world. They brought out Pride and stuff like that. So I was just like, yeah, probably not for me right now. I mean, UFC is in their own little pickle, so. And to answer your final question, the Ebola virus. Well, the Ebola virus, as I said, my thoughts on it, I answered this in the previous fan mail, so I'm going to answer it today as well. Damn, I'm freaking cold right now. What the fuck? The Ebola virus is something that should not be taken lightly. The Ebola virus pretty much is a virus that can kill you within weeks. That is something that you guys do not want to, God forbid, have. There's a part of me that wants to say that it's man-made, but there's another part of me that says that this world is so fucked up that this actually came from a third world country, and it's very scary how it affects you because it can rip you apart. But my thoughts are this: if we don't find a cure and if we don't develop something to prevent this, our society is going to fall. Our society is going to fall and succumb to Ebola within the hundreds of thousands, within the millions. So you don't want to do that. There's a part of me that wants to say that the government unleashed this thing on purpose because they want to do population control and, eradicate the population. But like I said, guys, I mean, right now is a time of just desperation, war, viruses, famine. It's the end times, man. Like I said, I'm a Christian, but it is what it is. I don't force my beliefs on anybody else. I just go based on what's being told and what's the proof behind the pudding, So this Ebola virus, man, as dangerous as it is, I really hope that this thing just vanishes, because if not, we're going to be facing some really difficult times in the future. So, but anyways, my friend, thank you for the questions, and I hope you have a wonderful day, bro. Now, moving on to the next question, which is from Jesus. Hey, Alex, got a couple of questions for you. All right, question number 1. What is the weirdest Halloween costume you've ever seen? Question number 2. What is the scariest thing that has happened to you on Halloween? Now for some WWE questions. Question number 3. Who do you think Brock Lesnar should drop the titles to, and when do you think he should lose them? Question number 4. Who do you want to make a return during the Royal Rumble this year? I want Morrison. Question number 5. What are your thoughts on the recent Stone Cold Steve Austin WrestleMania return rumors? Have a nice day, and thank you, man. Thank you as well, Jesus. To answer your first question, the weirdest costume that I've ever had or seen, actually, for me, I've always wore like the same, like repetitive costume, like when I was a kid. As I got older, I pretty much, never really wore anything out of the norm. But the weirdest Halloween costume that I've probably ever seen was this year. I saw some kid who looked like a crossbreed of Harry Potter and, like, what the fuck was it? Annabelle. It was like so weird. It was like Harry Annabelle. It was so retarded. I was like, what the hell? He had like pigtails and like, yeah, like freaking the Harry Potter scar, and he had like freaking like the Hogwarts outfit with like a tutu. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this guy wearing? Like, he looks like a freaking tool. I've seen a lot of retarded costumes, don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of epic costumes. I would have to say the best time for quote-unquote Halloween would be, Comic-Con. That's the place where all the best people have the best costumes. Like that, I would consider that to be Halloween, because everybody dresses up at Comic-Con. Comic-Con is always, a place where, people just really truly rock out with their costumes and stuff like that, and it's pretty awesome to see that. So but I mean, as for that goes, I would have to say that would be the weirdest. To answer your second question, the scariest thing that has ever happened to me on Halloween was when I was a kid. I was walking down, the street, whatever. I was gonna go look for more candy, whatnot, and there were these group of kids who ran up on me, and they snatched my mask off and they ran away. These kids, grabbed my mask and they ran away, and I remember I chased them and I ran so far, and I remember I got really winded and I couldn't catch them because they were all too fast and they all ran around or whatever. I was so scared, yet I was so traumatized that these kids took my mask, and I was so pissed. I remember I went home and I cried. I mean, I was a little kid. What more could you expect, So I remember when that happened, I pretty much like never went trick-or-treating again. Well, in a sense I did. I didn't go the following year or the year after that. But I remember I was walking by myself, and there was a lot of people outside. It was during the day, and I noticed that these kids kept looking at me and stuff like that. So I was like, oh shit, I ought to start, just making sure that nothing happens to me or whatnot. So they actually, developed like a little plan, and they ran up behind me and they snatched my mask and they ran away, and I was so freaking, like, I wanted to cry. I was so mad. It was my favorite mask too, so I was like, oh god, I hate all of you right now. I hope you all die. That was like my first, like, thing going on. So to answer your third question, I would love to see Brock Lesnar drop the titles to Daniel Bryan. I don't want it to be Roman Reigns. I don't want it to be John Cena. I want it to be Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan deserves to have those titles. First of all, in terms of story, it would make a lot of sense. Daniel Bryan comes back. He's like, you know, Brock, I never lost those titles. I had to relinquish them, and then you got them. And, you know, I want them back, and I'm a better wrestler. I'm a better technician. I'm a better everything overall. Having Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan would be amazing. The amount of submissions, the amount of craziness that would happen, it would be sick. So having Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar and having Brock Lesnar, you know, lose to Daniel Bryan would be amazing. Daniel Bryan being the underdog, doing something that CM Punk even couldn't do, and that's defeat the Beast. That would definitely solidify Daniel Bryan as being a really, really top main event star, because Daniel Bryan does deserve it at the end of the day, and I really hope that they don't job him out when he comes back. But against Brock Lesnar, I think Daniel Bryan should be the one. To answer your fourth question, who do I think should return? John Morrison, I would love to see. Yes, I would love to see. Evan Bourne, but I think Evan Bourne is pretty much done with WWE. In terms of like the old school, like, you know, 80s wrestlers and stuff like that, I would love to see Hulk Hogan enter the Royal Rumble. I mean, it's his first Rumble in like 20 years and stuff, so having him come out and, you know, wreak some havoc and whatever, and then having him, you know, be eliminated by another top star and stuff like that, I think that'd be really cool. But aside from that, I really would not know at this point. I mean, Karma would be a definite for me. She was a dominant female wrestler, and I would love to see her come back and just beat the shit out of all these other bitches. So I would have to say Karma and Hogan for me. And to answer your final question, I am really excited to see Stone Cold wrestle. If Stone Cold comes back, it'll be one of the biggest draws ever, because having him, you know, come back and having him wrestle one more match, I think over time his neck did heal. It's been like, what, 10 freaking years? So Austin coming to, you know, to the big stage of WrestleMania and having to compete one more time would be amazing. But here's the thing, who would Stone Cold go up against is the question. Who would Stone Cold be worthy for to wrestle, in a sense, you know? Possibly John Cena, possibly Randy Orton, possibly Daniel Bryan, possibly Brock Lesnar. There's a lot of rumors going around that Triple H and The Rock might wrestle at WrestleMania, that it might be Sting and The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So that right there just goes to show that if that does happen, I think it should be Austin and Cena, or Austin and somebody, you know, to solidify their legacy one more time. I think it'll be sick. So if Stone Cold comes back, it'll be the best WrestleMania ever, because Stone Cold Steve Austin was an icon. And I mean, who didn't like Austin? So I mean, having him come back would just be a mind blower. So, but anyways, my friend, thank you for the questions, and I hope you have a terrific weekend, my friend. And now moving on to the following question, which is from S7 Fusion. Hey, Alex, I'm coming at you with some more questions for the third time. All right, here we go. Question number 1, real life purge or zombie apocalypse? Oh, shit. Question number 2, what was one thing you've always wanted as a kid? Question number 3, do you think Destiny will die out like Titanfall? Question number 4, who do you think is the finest WWE diva right now? Oh. Question number 5, do you think Raikon's character of yours can be taken on by Superman? Oh, okay, so Superman Prime versus Raikon. Question number 6, should Treyarch in 2015 make a more futuristic Call of Duty or an old school Call of Duty? Those are all my questions. I hope you make it to WWE. You are the best. Thank you, S7. To answer your first question, I would much rather go with a zombie apocalypse than a purge. Because with a real-life purge, if you think about it, these people have actions, they have intent, they have intellect, and zombies are dumb. Zombies are dumb, but zombies are much more chaotic and archaic. So I do feel as if we had to choose a zombie apocalypse, there would be a lot more blood and gore going around, people suffering more. But then again, a real-life purge, you have to think about all the people that are sick out there, all the rapes that would happen, all of the murder and genocide, you know, all of the places that would get raided and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't want to choose either or, but in an essence, the only reason why I would say a zombie apocalypse is because, number 1, if we're dealing with walkers, I do believe it would be fun to pretty much just beat the piss out of them and just, like, you know, have a good time, whatever. Although it would suck because, you know, like, society has pretty much diminished, and, you know, we're gonna be, you know, resorting to old school fashions in a sense, you know, using maps and stuff. What if technology just goes obsolete and, you know, the grid gets wiped out? You know, there's just like a whole bunch of stuff that can be incorporated. But if I had to choose between those two, I would definitely say Zombie Apocalypse. I am a huge zombie fan. Those are one of my main reasons why I love zombies. It's because I would love to be a part of that little scenario. But I mean, like, none of them will be fun, like truly fun, because like your life would be ruined because everything that you wanted to do in life would be gone. But I would lean more towards Zombie Apocalypse than Real Life Purge. To answer your second question, what was one thing I've always wanted as a kid? Damn, there were a lot of things I wanted as a kid. Well, let's see here. Damn, this is a very good question. I would have to say, I still wish I had my Dragon Ball Z action figures, and I still wish that I had Dragon Ball Z action figures, like the old classic, you know, like the good ones, like the good ones they sold in stores and stuff like that. Another thing that I wish I had as a kid was, damn, I don't really know at this point. I mean, I've always wanted a dog, but now I have one, to be honest, so that I guess that little wish has been fulfilled. But aside from that, I can't really recall right now, because over a course of time, I learned to just obtain those things on my own. So there are a few things that are very rare that I can think of right now that I've always wanted as a kid. But between the two, I really don't know, to be honest. So I'm gonna have to leave that on blank. To answer your third question, no, I don't think Titanfall is dead at all. I don't even think Destiny's dead, or is it going to die? Granted, yes, I do believe by next year Destiny might be a lot slower. Just like Titanfall by next year is going to be a lot slower than it is now in terms of multiplayer and stuff like that. You know, having Halo 5, having a possible Black Ops 3, having a new Battlefield game, having Uncharted and stuff like that. You know, there are a lot of things that are going to be coming out next year that are going to make this year's games seem obsolete. But no, I don't believe Destiny is going to end up like Titanfall. Titanfall is actually doing very good right now. It's not bad. You know, I don't get why, you know, you would think that you know, Titanfall is dying out. Titanfall is still relevant and it's still pretty fun. So I would have to say that Titanfall right now, it's not, you know, going to go obsolete or whatever the case may be. But I do believe that, you know, both games will be relatively slow by next year. So, to answer your fourth question, the finest diva. Ooh, I would have to say Natalia and Lana. Obviously, Lana is very, very hot. She's a very hot woman, very fine woman. Natalia as well. Natalia got that, you know, body and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool. So for me, I would have to say those two. I mean, of course, you asked me this 10 years ago, I'd be like, you know, Tori Wilson, Dawn Marie, Sable, you know, Candace, Michelle, and stuff like that. But now it's like, ah, shit, all these girls look fucking bleh. Paige too. I think Paige is pretty hot too. Like she's a very gorgeous girl. But aside from those three, I would have to say nobody else. Well, Rusev? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I would have to say those three are most definite. To answer your fifth question, Raikon versus Prime Superman. I'm not going to get into detail about Raikon just yet. But as of right now, I'm not going to make any comparisons between the two. But I will say Prime Superman because Raikon, he isn't a god. He's just a very, very power-hungry Saiyan, and you guys will get to experience that once I begin to tell the story behind Raikon. Raikon is a very vicious Saiyan, but he's not a god. He's not a god like Superman, so for that matter, I would have to say Superman because my character does have weaknesses, but in terms of anything else, I'm just going to have to say this. You guys are going to have to wait and see because the things that I have planned for Raikon are just going to be absolutely amazing. So, and to answer your final question, Treyarch should stick with, I think they should stick with the futuristic stuff, but Treyarch needs to include zombies. I think we all know that. I think we all want to see that. Zombies, zombies, zombies. That's something we all want to see. of course, once Call of Duty Zombies does come out, it's going to be one of the best things to hit the market. But as of right now, I think they should stick with the futuristic stuff. We already went through all the old-time things, you know, like what more can we do? You know, everything is taken already, so why go back when we can just continue to move forward? So, but anyways, Mr. Fusion, thank you for the questions, and I hope you have a terrific day. And thank you all for watching once again, everybody. My name is UnrealEntGaming. If you guys are fans, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest news, information, and updates. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to hit it up with a like and a favorite. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, everybody. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. Once again, everybody, don't forget to check out my second channel at UnrealEnt Network. On that channel, you guys are going to find a whole bunch of awesome stuff that you guys won't find on here. As always, everybody, stay tuned for more. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. And on that note, guys, I will be seeing you all in the next episode. Take it easy, everybody. Peace out. It's so freaking cold in my room. What the hell?